Hello, my name is Rob Garner. I'm a computer programming instructor, and today I'm going to demonstrate Visual Studio's debugging features. So let's take this program, and I'm going to put in an error. And this is just to test this out. I'm going to put in 0 here. We should get a divide by 0 error. And I'll build this solution. And then we're going to run with debugging. Notice that if we run in debug mode, a couple things. The program is running and it's got this orange bar underneath it. That means that tells you that you're running in debug mode. And if you have an error in your code when you're running in debug mode, this yellow arrow indicates where execution halted, and then it gives you a message showing what the error was. And it'll give you a bunch of information. And it has unhandled exception, integer division by 0, and that helps you see where the problem is. So I recommend that you run in debug mode most of the time. So that's one way that you can use debug, is to just when you're running, so that you can see the error messages and have the instruction pointer, which is that yellow arrow, point to where the error is. The other way to use debug mode is to use breakpoints. And the way you set a breakpoint is, you see this gray bar over on the left here. I'm going to put a breakpoint right here. And then let's say we also want to put a breakpoint maybe here in front of this function. So I'm going to stop debugging and then restart it with those breakpoints in place. And so now we have some breakpoints in place. And if we start debugging now, what will happen is it'll start execution. And it will stop on the breakpoint. And so you see this yellow arrow is indicating that the program is currently at line 12 here, where it's declaring this string for name, and it's waiting for you to tell it to move forward. Other windows you have here are this windows down to the bottom, which tell you what the value is in currently declared variables that are in scope. So age and name are in scope because they're within main's curly braces. And we can see that age has the value, basically the value that the variable has when you first declare it. It doesn't really have a reliable value. And if I hover over my variables, it'll also show me what the current values are. And it can't read the string right now because it hasn't done the declaration. You have an autos window, a locals window, and a watch window. So the locals window are the variables are currently in scope, and right now autos is basically doing the same thing. So either of these windows are going to show you what's currently in scope. You have a list of where your breakpoints are. Those are those 2 breakpoints, and those are useful. You can, if you double click on them, it'll take your cursor to wherever those are. This is the call stack. It's showing you what functions are currently have been called, and right now the function is main. You can see it's ask name age function executing main. And there's some others that we'll look at later. And if your actual console is open in a console application, but it's often, since the active window ends up being the debug window, it often gets hidden behind when it's not actually being actively written to. So I sometimes do this. I will put the 2 windows side by side, something like that, so I can see everything. So, how do we start stepping forward? Well, if you look at the debug menu, first of all, if any of these windows are missing, this Windows menu will allow you to get your watch, autos, and locals windows back. So let's say I lost my locals window. I could go up to debug, Windows, and let's see, what am I missing? Locals, and just click there and it comes back. The other thing that the debug window shows is that you have step into, step over, and step out.